Okay, strap in, everyone. Today we're going deep with Henry Gallant.
Henry Gallant, yeah.
It's 2166.
The future.
Humans are out there exploring the galaxy. But Henry, he's dealing with a whole other problem.
Oh.
He wants to be a pilot, but in this world, everyone's genetically enhanced. But Henry was just a natural.
Was a natural, I see.
We've got his logs, simulations, even a first-hand account of a space battle. We're going to figure out how he survives, how he thrives in this world.
It's interesting, this story, it takes something we see happening right now.
Yeah.
Technology changing everything.
Right.
But it just throws that into overdrive, like warp speed.
Yeah.
What happens when you're going up against people who are basically superhuman?
That's a good question.
Makes you think.
Right.
What skills do you need to stay relevant?
What skills do I need? Yeah, and it's not just some simple underdog story either. This is Henry Gallant.
Henry Gallant.
Right.
He can use a neural interface.
Oh, wow.
But that's supposed to be impossible for naturals.
How does that even work?
That's the question.
Imagine someone in your field suddenly doing something everyone thought was impossible.
Yeah, it makes you think. What are we assuming are the limits? Human potential. Where do those limits really lie?
Absolutely. Okay, so first we meet Henry. He's arriving at the Repulse.
The Repulse.
This massive battlecruiser. Think, a small town in space.
Wow.
Fresh out of the academy and just thrown right into the deep end.
I see.
And remember, it's 2166.
2166.
Right, even basic training involves flying.
Flying what?
Fission fragment rockets.
No kidding.
That's mind-blowing for us. But now he's got to deal with antimatter engines, laser cannons.
It's like next level.
It's like going from a bicycle to a supersonic jet.
Whoa.
Talk about feeling out of place. And then he meets Lieutenant Mather,
Nah.
who's going to make his life, well, interesting, as his flight instructor later on.
Right.
Then there's Midshipman Newman,
Yeah, man.
genetically enhanced pilot, total superiority complex. Let's just say those two don't exactly hit it off.
Don't get along.
Nope. Not at all.
It's fascinating, though, how Henry reacts to this. He could just get intimidated, right?
Oh, totally.
Overwhelmed by this advanced tech, these, enhanced individuals.
Right.
But he doesn't. He pushes forward.
It's that drive, that inner strength that shines through.
It's really something.
And it's put to the test almost immediately. Fire breaks out.
Fire!
Yeah. In the missile compartment. Henry jumps into action.
Wow.
But it's more than just some heroic moment. Remember this deep dive? It's about more than just plot points.
It's deeper than that.
It's how Henry handles the aftermath. He insists on telling the truth.
About Wow.
Even though it makes him look bad, he could have covered it up. Easily. But he's committed to real readiness, even if it means some temporary setbacks. Talk about integrity.
Exactly. Sometimes the most difficult choice is the right one. It's tough, but you got to do it.
And don't forget, he ends up with some pretty nasty burns from that fire.
Ouch.
But he still gets reprimanded. Not following protocol perfectly. Makes you wonder, right? When is it okay to bend the rules?
Especially in your line of work, you've faced situations where the rules maybe weren't the best option.
Oh, absolutely. Balancing those rigid protocols with the need to be flexible, think on your feet.
It's a tough balance.
And speaking of adapting, the logs show us life on the Repulse.
What's it like?
Synthetic food. The constant hum of life support. Always knowing you're millions of miles from home.
That's got to be rough.
It highlights the trade-offs of progress, doesn't it? We dream of space travel, but this story reminds us it wouldn't all be glamorous.
Right, like those long business trips.
Exactly. You see new places, but there's that fatigue, missing those familiar comforts.
Absolutely.
But even with all that, we see these human moments, like with Kelsey. She's this skilled astrogator, but she's more than that.
Oh.
She's a farmer's daughter. Brings this down-to-earth perspective to Henry's anxieties. There are conversations about family, roots, the meaning of home.
It's relatable, even in this futuristic setting.
Totally. It's like when you're feeling overwhelmed at work and you call a family member.
Just to hear that familiar voice.
Yeah, those basic human needs, they stay the same, no matter how fancy our tech gets.
So true.
And Henry finds another support in Red, his roommate and wingman.
Red, okay.
He's this, boisterous, outgoing personality, the complete opposite of Henry.
Opposites attract.
Like that friend who always knows how to lighten the mood.
We all need that friend.
And watching them train together is amazing.
Why is that?
We see this awesome tech, The F-715 Eagle fighter.
F-715.
Sleek design, antimatter engines, mongoose missiles.
Wow.
It's a sci-fi dream come true.
But remember, this material, it doesn't just glamorize the tech.
Oh, no.
It explains the physics of spaceflight, thrusters, Newton's laws, the difference between, maneuvering in atmosphere versus vacuum.
Which comes into play big time during Henry's requalification exam.
Oh, this is where things get intense. Remember Newman?
Uh-oh.
That pilot with the superiority complex. Well, he sabotages the simulation,
Right.
overloads Henry's systems with fake failures.
No way.
Talk about pressure. You're in this complex machine. Everything's going wrong.
Yeah.
You got to figure out what's real, what's not.
You've probably felt that kind of pressure in your own work.
Oh, absolutely. When everything's going wrong and you have to make a critical decision right then and there.
Right. But what's amazing, Henry doesn't panic. He shuts everything down.
Everything.
Reboots the whole system to clear the chaos. It's a bold move.
It is.
And it works.
Wow.
Look, when your computer's crashing, you just hit that reset button. Sometimes the simplest solution.
It's the most effective.
Exactly. And here's where we see it. Henry's natural instincts.
Okay.
Thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
It might actually be an advantage in this world that's obsessed with genetic perfection.
Interesting.
And that ability becomes even more important because humanity is facing its biggest unknown.
Which is?
First contact.
Whoa. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. This Titan scout ship, it just appears.
Like out of nowhere.
Sleek, silent. No attempt at communication. Just, a show of force.
Intimidating.
It really gets under your skin. That fear of the unknown, It's primal. When we're faced with something, well, completely alien. I bet you felt something like that.
Yeah. Maybe not on an interstellar scale.
Right.
But that moment when you realize you're up against something totally new, unpredictable.
And that's what we see Henry doing.
In the mock battle.
Yeah, doing this mock battle exercise. He pulls this risky maneuver.
Risky how?
Luring the enemy away from the Repulse,
Yeah.
to protect the bigger ship. He's thinking strategically.
Putting others before himself.
Even in a simulation. Pretty impressive.
And he's using the CMG.
The what?
Spinning rotor lets those fighters pull off crazy maneuvers.
Oh, I've heard of those. Like a gyroscope, but way more powerful.
On steroids. Imagine trying to hit a target that can move like that.
It's mind-boggling. And it makes you appreciate the engineers who designed this tech.
For sure. Harnessing complex physics.
To create something that seems almost magical.
Henry's team might lose the exercise.
They do.
But he earned some respect from Captain Kane.
Even though they lost. That's got to mean something.
It's a small victory, but it shows he's proving himself.
And amidst all this, the tension, the uncertainty, we see Henry and Kelsey. Their relationship deepens. He's dealing with, well, the implications of first contact, right?
Yeah.
And she helps ground him, reminds him of what matters.
Family, home. Yeah. Those conversations, they resonate, even in this sci-fi setting. It's that reminder that no matter how far we go, we still yearn for connection.
Absolutely. That need for something familiar.
Then we get to the Ganymede Research Lab.
This is where things get even more exciting. We're talking mass devices.
Manipulating gravity.
Yeah. Phaser cannons. Unbelievable destructive power.
It's like stepping into a scientist's wildest dreams. Yeah. Makes you wonder, how far will technology go?
It's mind-blowing, but it also makes you think.
Yeah.
About the responsibility that comes with that kind of power.
Like the ethical implications. That's something we're grappling with right now with AI and all that.
That's the beauty of this story, It takes these real-world concerns, throws them onto this galactic canvas.
And Henry, always the insightful observer, he starts to piece things together.
About
the Titans' motivations. Why are they here?
Right.
He thinks they're after Ganymede's antimatter production.
Because?
They see it as a threat to their dominance.
It's that classic struggle for resources. Correct. But on a cosmic scale, antimatter, that's the ultimate power source. Makes you realize how important those resources are for any spacefaring civilization.
Then things get real. The Titan fleet is detected.
Not just scouts this time.
A full-blown invasion force.
Talk about a cliffhanger.
And on top of that, there's political pressure from NNR. This powerful corporation demanding convoy escort.
Even with an alien invasion on the way.
It's that same old story, isn't it? Internal conflicts, competing priorities, influence of the powerful. I bet you can think of situations in your field where the big picture gets lost in the scramble for power and profit.
Oh, absolutely.
The stakes are higher than ever, Captain Kane gives the order.
Which is?
Defend Jupiter Station at all costs. It's a decision with a lot of weight, a lot of responsibility, the kind of choices that have far-reaching consequences.
Like the choices many of us face in our own lives.
Yeah.
The burden of leadership. And right before battle, Squadron 111 gets one last night of liberty at the Lobster Tavern.
The Lobster Tavern. I love that name.
It's this contrast, the looming threat, and then this moment of human connection, camaraderie before the storm.
Kelsey singing the interactions between her, Henry, and Newman. It's all so human, even against the backdrop of interstellar war.
Then boom, we're into the action. The convoy escort mission goes wrong.
Because of Newman.
He strikes again. Deliberately assigns Henry to protect a damaged merchant ship.
Setting him up to fail.
Hoping he'll be destroyed by the Titans. Talk about a toxic colleague.
It's a reminder, even with a common enemy, we can be undermined by these internal conflicts, personal agendas.
But Henry, he rises to the challenge. Works with Kelsey to repair the ship.
A leaking reactor?
Yeah, dwindling supplies, the constant threat of attack. It's like Murphy's Law in space.
But they keep going. They keep working, keep improvising.
It's their resilience, their ingenuity. They refuse to give up. And then a Titan destroyer shows up.
Oh, no.
Talk about tension. This is where Henry's quick thinking, his courage, it really shines. He comes up with this plan, this incredibly risky plan. Using the ship's fuel.
It's volatile, right?
To create a massive explosion. Takes out the destroyer.
Wow.
It's brilliant, but it comes at a cost. This isn't a simulation anymore. Lives are at stake.
And then another destroyer.
Just when they think they're safe.
Henry makes the decision. He stays behind to buy time for Kelsey and the ship to escape, knowing he's probably going to die.
It's self-sacrifice. Pure human courage. And his attack on that second destroyer, it's something else. He pushes his fighter to the limit. Dodging, weaving, firing everything he's got.
I can picture it now.
It's the intensity of space combat. But it also shows something about Henry. It's not just survival. He's proving his worth. He's more than just a natural. He's a warrior, a leader.
And then the battle for Jupiter, it explodes around them. Dozens of Titan ships descending on Ganymede. The research lab, the antimatter production, it's all there. It's chaos, destruction, a fight for survival.
And the source material? It doesn't shy away from the reality of war. Ships exploding, lives lost, the sheer scale of destruction.
And it's personal. Kelsey's family, they're out there, somewhere in the colonies, caught in the crossfire.
It raises the stakes.
Yeah.
And Henry, he steps up, not just flying, he's directing anti-missile fire, coordinating with other pilots. He's using his understanding of the battlefield to make a difference.
Like a conductor leading an orchestra of destruction.
And that mystery about the neural interface, it comes into play here. Even though he's a natural, he's somehow tapping into this tech, even better than the enhanced pilots.
So there's more to human potential than we realize.
Maybe it's intuition, maybe adaptability. But Henry has this spark. He can transcend the limitations that others put on him.
And then he covers Red's retreat. Red's fighter is crippled, and Henry risks his life to save his friend.
It's loyalty, self-sacrifice, qualities that are often overlooked. It's a reminder that even in dark times, human connection matters.
As the battle reaches its climax, Henry makes a decision that could change everything.
He sees a disabled Titan ship.
And instead of retreating, he boards it.
It's risky, driven by that human curiosity, that need to understand, even when it's dangerous.
He's going deep into enemy territory, looking for answers, knowledge that could win the war.
And that's where we'll pick up next time.
Okay, so we left Henry alone.
Inside that Titan ship.
Yeah, inside this derelict Titan warship, battles raging outside, but inside, it's eerie, silent. You can just feel it, that tension, like someone's going to jump out, like one of those haunted house movies.
Oh, yeah, you know something bad's coming.
Exactly. It's a masterclass in suspense.
It is.
You've got this claustrophobic setting.
Right.
The alien tech, and Henry's surrounded
By the enemy.
even if he can't see them.
Makes your heart race.
And the way they describe the Titan tech, it's so different.
Alien.
Alien. Almost organic, you know?
Not like our stuff.
No, not cold, metallic. It's something else. Makes you question what technology can even be.
We're so used to our way of doing things. Circuits, wires. What if they've got something completely different?
It's like we're still figuring out our own brains. Imagine trying to decipher tech based on something we don't even understand.
That's a good point.
And the Titans themselves, those tissue samples,
Yeah.
they hint at a biology that's just as strange.
It's like a whole other evolutionary path. Remember when you first learned about extremophiles?
Oh, yeah.
Those organisms that live in crazy conditions?
Yeah.
It's that sense of wonder. Life can take on forms we never even thought of.
It's amazing. And then, just when you think it can't get more intense, Henry's in a firefight.
With the Titans?
With the remaining Titans, yeah. Close quarters combat. Desperate, brutal. I was holding my breath reading this.
You can feel the intensity.
It really shows how adaptable Henry is. He's not enhanced, right?
No genetic upgrades.
But he uses his wits, his agility, and he understands human behavior.
Gives him an edge.
Like they say, the best defense is a good offense. He's always a step ahead. And in the end, he escapes.
And he gets out.
But with something more valuable than just his life, a piece of that Titan tech, this cylindrical device.
Oh, is it?
It's like the ultimate souvenir, but also a total mystery. Brings us back to that question, technology versus natural ability. Will this tech help humanity win? Or is there something about Henry, something unique, that's the real key?
It's a classic dilemma. Brute force or something more, well, human?
With Henry, it might be both. He's a natural pilot, a strategist. But he'll use any tool he can, even alien tech. That's what makes this story so great. It's not just about the spaceships and lasers. It's about choices, challenges, and the potential we all have.
That reminder that we can do extraordinary things.
Yeah.
Even when it seems impossible. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a thought. When you're facing a challenge, a really tough one, remember Henry. Remember his courage, his ingenuity. He pushed beyond his limits.
We all have those moments where we got to dig deep, find that extra strength, that creativity to get through it.
And sometimes the biggest discoveries, the breakthroughs, they come from those who question things, who see the possibilities that others miss.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this trip to the year 2166.
It's been a wild ride.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, keep pushing those boundaries.
Absolutely.
Until next time.